Good afternoon and welcome to the European to the FX Daily Wrap Up. And we've seen the euro have a little bit of a rally and run out of gas here at a area that we had mentioned in the chat room, right here at this 1228. We had our bias chart support, bias chart resistance a little bit lower here at 1211, but as I mentioned, when we came in and we did the European crossover, we were actually heading lower here, and we had thought we might be able to make it right down here to 1152. We came down here in the 1160 area here, and let's pull this back. And this actually was a 38% right here. I think it was 1165 was a 38% of the way back, and we held here. And we started to make this run higher in the chat room about an hour and a half hour ago or so. I said, probably gonna have some trouble getting past this 1228 in light of the risk-off scenario, the whole Argentina thing. I thought, we might have a tough time. We already had rallied a pretty decent amount off of these lows here. So that's what's going on here with the euro. We saw the dollar index make a move higher. Now we had our bias chart resistance at the big level, the 97.89. We fell short of that. I thought we might be able to push that up, and henceforth that might bring the euro down to about 1152, but that wasn't to be the case. Euro stopped right there at 11, looks like 1162. 1165 was at 38%. But we did see a pretty good run up here in the dollar peso here. And if you saw the week ahead video with Blake, he had mentioned about the Mexican Central Bank and probably going to go on and lighten up a bit. And with that, I thought to myself, like, boy, that's a pretty good opportunity to get long. I thought, probably, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning, but this thing took off right out of the gate. And early in the European session, it started running, and boy, did it run. We kind of pared back a little bit here, but overall, the markets, it's a August trading session. Mentioned to people that with Europeans, they generally take the last 3 weeks of August off for holiday, so you get a little bit more light trading action. Now we did see the dollar yen dip a little bit. We actually came in, we're holding steady overall in the European session, but then the news came out about Hong Kong and them about closing the airport or suggesting that nobody go to the airport, and that really took a dip. And at the time, gold was trading. Gold had actually moved, and we'll take a look at that here. Let's move into that screen. Bear with me, I'm on a new computer now, so I'm trying to get used to. Let's see, screen 2, that should be it here. So you can see here with gold, we were actually, at the time, we were actually, hugging the lows down here. And when this news came out about Hong Kong, boy, we flipped the script and we went the upper, you can see here, we were already sliding down here. And then when the news with Hong Kong came out, boy, we flipped the script and we went north. So we had a pretty good little run back in here. When we look at yields are a bit back on the slide here, and we'll get to that. Let's go and move here. Okay, and you can see here with the bunds. Bunds are over here making this run up in here, right there with the bunds. Yeah, make sure you've got the right. Yeah, right there we go. Let's see. So you can see here, bunds almost right here at all-time highs, and the 10-year isn't as weak as compared to the bunds, and obviously higher prices, lower yields here with the bunds. So they're pushing here now. Generally, as I mentioned before, that works like a ball and chain on the euro, but in the way things are globally, it's all relative, if you want to think of it that way. So the euro's had a chance to move higher, but once again, with this whole risk off the whole Argentina, and then with Hong Kong, I felt it might have a tough time trying to get beyond that area here, which was at 1228. We'd actually got up to the bias chart resistance, which we had at 1211, but we pushed up a little bit higher. But I thought, okay, well, they're trying to push it that way. The dollar was weakening, but once again, like I said, I kind of thought they might have a tough time trying to sustain a gain above 12.28, and sure enough, they ran out of gas, and they haven't come off a whole lot, but they've come off about 17 pips from that area. We'll jump back into that screen. Right here. Okay. And you've seen this going and come off about 16, about 17 pips from there. Really from the high, I guess, let's see, we topped out, I guess, right about 12.30, so about almost 20 pips off of that. But we did, as I said, we haven't seen the dollar yen recover back, and that was already weak to start with, but certainly this whole Hong Kong thing threw that and sent that reeling lower. We did see the cable move higher. There was talk about lawmakers putting together some type of a I don't know if they're going to take some kind of a law, whatever, to go in and kind of force the hand to postpone the Brexit, and they were going to go and take steps ahead. That actually was favorable for the cable, and we started moving higher. And then also something about I think Boris Johnson also mentioned he would be willing to look at something. Or obviously they're going to leave, but if they can find something positive, something to work out, it'd be great. That gave the cable an extra bit of a boost too, and we came up right here to the bias chart resistance. You can see that here. We kind of pushed around. We've kind of pared back from that. I think we had that as from the European session. You can see here we had a 2094 on our bias chart. Let's see here. Yeah, 2094. Kind of got a little bit above it. We've since paired off about 20 pips, man, but probably even a little bit lower than that from here. But the real big key story to me has been the peso, as that's tried to go and make a move. And certainly, I mean, we're pairing back, but boy, did we make a pretty good quick little run. But as Blake mentioned, that looking for possibly for them to go on and cut, and certainly this thing could really open up and take off like a banshee. We'll go and take a look at it on the daily. And bear with me. So you saw that we had quite the remarkable run. Right now, which was going to be resistance, and you saw this thing really start to scoot off, is now going to be support, which is at 1947. And it dips back into 47 would be certainly a buying opportunity here. This market, once we got past that 1923.6, it really opened the door. We even mentioned that here on the Asian analysis. And we had a resistance at 1947, but by the time we came in, everything was moving so quickly as the peso started to take off. What was going to be resistance is now support. That's at 1947. But we said it reigned in a solid buy mode after taking out the major 1923.6 level. And certainly that has come to fruition. I mean, we can still move a whole heck of a lot higher if the Mexican central bank does take some action, which some people do expect them to go and take just that. We've seen the dollar CAD kind of bounce around. We saw this pair back as the crude oil had come off of those lows after an $8 sell-off in crude. So we saw the Canadian dollar bounce back here. We'll go in and take a look where we stand here on the cross rates. Once again, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a slow trading, as we go through August. I mean, we did see some reaction. You get these Monday moves, but once again, obviously the Argentine thing kicked things around. Also, Hong Kong, situation with Hong Kong got the gold pushing right back up again. So of course, we still have the Italian politics, got some issues there also. So getting some movement, but like I said, come at some good levels where your entries are, because with quiet trading, you may end up owning that position for a little bit of time. We may not move around that much, but we are seeing the euro make a pretty good advance against the Aussie as well as the Kiwi, and they're expecting further action on these two. I think Blake mentioned also this morning, things are, you know, especially with same, once again, we lean back to that. The situation in Hong Kong certainly going to be a big effect, have a big effect with the Australian dollar, so, and you know, the Antipodian currencies as well as the Kiwi right here. So you're seeing the euro potentially make a pretty good move up here against the Aussie as well as the Kiwi. I think the Kiwi may have even further to move here, despite how far it's already come, and we'll take a look at that on the daily. We can still get going on this thing. And there's the Euro Kiwi. So boy, we get blasting too far ahead. We'll quickly surge up in here, and realistically, probably a pretty good chance that we make it up here to about the 178. That's still a long ways off. I mean, I'm saying that's still a pretty good run, and it's possible. You see what I'm saying? Look at that. We were just there in October, so that's not even taking out the highs. That's just right there, 178. What it's about another 420 pips to go. And these markets move fast. You can see this Euro Kiwi has just gone off like a rocket, and suggests also there's more room to run here with potential cutting that we're going to see onward with the Kiwi. And as things have do deteriorate or have seemed to deteriorate in that region, and also the issues going on with Hong Kong really opens the door for not only for further weakness, but also the potential for them to go in and cut, and weakness as far as the economy. And the, certainly, like I said, they're affected, Australia and New Zealand, by what happens with China. They're a big benefiter of trade with them, and certainly the whole situation, destabilization in that area certainly isn't good for either of these two currencies. Looking on, you can see the Aussie yen still remains weak, as does the guppy down here. We did come into some key area here, but coming up, but we're still relatively weak. But other than that, that's about all we have. Like I said, it's a quiet August trading. We did get a quick little blip out of the peso. We got central bank this week. Got a little bit of a pop with the euro, and the yen slid a little bit on the Hong Kong. Dollar yen slid a little bit on the Hong Kong news. But as I said, with August trading, it's generally pretty quiet. So make sure you pick and choose those levels well, because you may own it for a little bit of time. So thank you for joining us here on the FX Daily Wrap-Up with ForexAnalytix. And as mentioned, always mentioned before, is consider taking a trial with ForexAnalytix. It's 10 days for $1. You get the different applications as well as a mobile app. But as I said, the chat room to me I think is the one thing that stands out stellar, despite all the other technical advances. We have the real-time news, the news, headline that pops up. We have analysis with basic technical, Elliott wave analysis, harmonics, macro. So certainly go in and take that for a spin. And thanks for joining us here on the FX Daily Wrap-Up with ForexAnalytix.